recording it as we record all town meetings.
Yeah.
Welcome. So first thing on the agenda is to get to know everybody now that we have a new member. Please welcome Mark Washburn. I will just go around and introduce ourselves to you, and then you can tell us a little bit about you and why you were interested in joining. I am Mia Baumgarten. I'm the chair of the committee. I'm also the media operations manager for the town, and I do some work with the library, which brings us to Jennifer Wertkin.
I am Jennifer Wertkin. I am the library director, and I am a lot of the work that we do with the town caused me to see some overlap, and I decided that it was important for me to be on this committee. So I am here. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Deb, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Deb McGee, and I'm a longtime Wellfleet resident. I've recently retired. Well, not so recently anymore, probably about 3 years ago, and just have a real interest in local television. I'm also on the board of the Lower Cape TV, and I am their designee. Yes, designee to here. To this group as well, appointed by the town manager. Oh, select board, sorry.
Select board. And Deb is also our fearless clerk, and we are lucky to have her and her wonderful minutes skills. And Tom Cole.
Hi there, Tom Cole. I'm a longtime member of this committee and also of the Lower Cape TV board of directors, and been involved in this stuff for many years. So I'm glad to see a new member join us. And I can't wait to hear more about you, and welcome.
Thank you. So I am Mark Washburn, and I'm glad to be here. I am a 20-year owner of a home in Wellfleet on Lieutenant Island, which is the broadband no-go zone.
The desert.
In Wellfleet.
Yes.
Desert, thank you. That's the word I was searching for. So I am hoping that I can add something to the committee. I have about 25 years of experience in the telecom field. I started right out of college and built fiber networks, initially in downtown Boston. I competed with the Bell network and cut up the streets. So I know a lot about construction and easements and right-of-ways and all the things that you have to do to build networks. I went on to get involved with another company that changed how dial-up modems worked, and ultimately was acquired by Level 3, which let me buy my house in Wellfleet. And then I was also started a company that did DSL and tried to compete with Verizon doing that, which wasn't all that successful. But I've guest lectured on telecom competition at MIT. I've testified before the Department of Public Utilities, and I'm a writer and a social media guy. So hopefully I can bring some skills. I'm also good at Excel, so can bring some skills to this group. And hopefully, my goal is to have every home in the Outer Cape get cable, because I think it's really sad that the companies have abandoned the Outer Cape. It's just terrible. I live in Sudbury half the year and Wellfleet the other half, and I probably get a solicitation every other week for the company I don't use right now, which is Verizon. And it's just sad that they're spending money marketing to suburban Boston and not spending any money on anything on the Cape. So here I am, and hopefully I can help in some way.
Well, welcome, and thank you for joining. It pretty much sounds like you could just run the committee, so we can all go. You have all the skills. No, we're really glad to have you. Like you said, the Cape it's really a technology desert. It's a lot like the Berkshires in that way, and the central part of the state they have all the competition and all the resources, and we're kind of stuck with one provider. The only other provider around is Open Cape, which isn't connected for residential use yet, and it's at this point cost prohibitively expensive. But we're hoping to help expand in increments, and it's always really good to keep in touch with what they're doing. So you were following the signing of the Comcast lease agreement at the last select board meeting, right? 2 select board meetings ago?
That's correct.
Appointed you, yeah. Okay, good. So you're up to speed on that. I'm happy to email you the draft of the agreement if you'd like to look it over. But basically, it's our next 10-year license agreement, and Comcast, they gave us a little bit more than I would say we were expecting. Obviously, they've been trying to reduce their expenses as much as they can the past 10 years as people have been cutting cords, and they've been trying to get away with not funding public access and obviously not providing good connection to a lot of people. But I think the pandemic turned a lot of that around. They don't have so much of a choice now that it's really being shown to be a public utility, which of course it always was, but now it's in the spotlight. So we locked in for another 10 years. We have X amount of funding for the public access channel in the town and the media archive and all the work that we do. And they improved the ratio, the density ratio required to be eligible for a connection. So we think that there must be, although we don't have exact places, there must be people who are now eligible who weren't eligible before. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about today, this being our first meeting after that lease agreement was signed, is how we can maybe reach out to those people. Because of course it's a catch-22. If there are people who are currently living without the internet, we may not be able to reach them on the internet to tell them they're eligible for the internet. And now that the town buildings are closed to the public, we can't, normally we would post something in the library, which is the best community resource in town. And we'd post things in town hall, but we're not getting foot traffic in there anymore. So I would love to brainstorm some ideas how we can reach out to people who are newly eligible and without overlaying an assessor's map versus a map of what internet connections people have. And I don't even know how we would get that data. We can't just make a list of 30 people that we know. So we really have to blanket the town with information. I'm not sick, I'm just very hoarse in the mornings. So if anybody has an idea of how they'd like to do that, let's start brainstorming.
Well, I think because Mark does live on Lieutenant Island, do I understand that correctly?
That's correct.
Yeah, that you probably know some of your neighbors, hopefully, and that you can begin a word of mouth, if nothing else. I mean, if they don't have internet, many of them hopefully will pretty soon, but there is some issues around the, there's some restrictions on what we can do at Lieutenant Island, unfortunately. It's from a neighbor there who was restricted the access for Comcast to get out there. So that's really one of the major problems there. But
I'm happy to report, on the Lieutenant Island issue, I'm happy to report that issue is solved.
Excellent.
I thought you said something about that. Yeah, that's great.
I spent the summer working on basically knocking on doors, and we have gotten a signature on the easement agreement with that one neighbor, and he signed it right before the end of the year. So that's back at Comcast.
That's phenomenal. Good. You are a hero, and thank you for doing that. You're going to be a hero to the people of Lieutenant Island. They're going to make a statue of you right on the bridge. So Comcast has that information now?
They should. If it was put in the mail right before Christmas, right before the New Year.
Great.
So last week.
Great.
How do you manage that?
Yeah.
A lot of beer.
Beer boating.
Beer and boating, I guess.
Beer and boating. Hey, however you managed it, as long as they're happy, and that's going to be a huge blessing, because that really was the most concentrated area of no access. So thank you.
Yeah, well, the paper roads are, so if there's other neighborhoods with paper roads, that's, Comcast requires an easement, and they don't want to spend any money on the legal aspect of it. So right. we have to educate those owners on the paper roads what they have to do.
Yeah.
Well, when is the next tax bill mailed out? Can we put a little flyer in that?
That was my thought too. I think that they don't go out. Well, the schedule was shifted this year. Normally they go out in April. but they didn't go out this year until the fall, even though they're semi-annual, so there should be 2 a year. But they didn't do one at all this year until the fall. I don't know when they're going to plan one for the spring is my answer, but that was the first thing on my mind. I'm going to check in with the town clerk and see, because that's probably the most efficient thing to do. I'd also like to reach second homeowners who, I guess there's no real delay between when they would get their tax bill, whether or not they lived here or lived off Cape. It's going to get to them just as soon. But that I think is our best bet, is just the mail.
Second home, you could get in touch with, I'm blanking on her name, and get in
Susan?
their letter. Yeah, Susan.
Yeah.
Reverby, and
good idea.
Letter, yeah.
Yep. All right, I will do that, and I will draft an insert for the Springtown mailer, and I will check with Jen when that's supposed to go out. Jen Congle is our town clerk, Mark. I don't know if you know her, but she's wonderful.
Sure. Can we use the Wellfleet Facebook group, the community group, to post
We
them?
can post anything we want in there. I'm trying to think of non-internet sources, but of course that's a great place to start with people who still get on the internet privately through their data plan.
Getting word to the Provincetown Independent, if they don't already know about it, they could certainly spread it. Lots of people.
They had an article, but it was very like technical. Maybe
Yeah, it was dense.
Maybe if it's more.
Yeah, we need like a draft language that's just a few lines that is, we want to say what's changed and who would be eligible. And if they don't know whether or not they're newly eligible, they can check with the town hall, who would be able to reference exactly the density of the houses around them. And then we can inform Comcast that they're out there. But I assume this is going to be...
Is it useless to approach the banner as well? I mean, it seems like their readership is going down, 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 down. And the paper is thinner every time it comes out, but I guess
also, I was interviewed by one of their reporters who's actually based in like one of the North Carolina, maybe, on opening the library, like wherever Gannett is located, wherever their parent company is. Like
it's owned, yeah, it's owned by someone in the Mid-Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the reporter was who was interviewing me. So and they got the
go ahead.
I would want to keep it as local as possible,
right?
Because they got the information wrong.
I think the Independent's probably sufficient. Potentially the Cape Cod Times. They have a pretty broad readership, and they may reach more people who. The Independent, I think, is a lot of people who already live here. And I want to make sure we get people who are eligible, but maybe not super up on local doings, so they're not aware because they're not here. So I think if we talk to the Times and the Independent, the Second Homeowners Association, we figure out an insert for the tax bill, and we make some posts on social media. We can also do a news post on the front page of the town website. It's not super heavily trafficked, but it is a good reference point.
Jennifer, do you have a lot of traffic, walk-up traffic to pick up books?
Yes, we have a decent amount.
Maybe putting something in the books?
I'm not going to put
an insert in, as people come by to pick up a book, to have an insert in the book, or is that not practical?
I don't know if that's practical. I could put signage on the table for people who are, I try not to do anything on that table other than the books, because I don't want people lingering there.
Right.
I think, can you add it to the library, the Mermaid memo?
I was going to do an insert in our electronic newsletter again.
Yeah.
Excuse me, again, it's electronic, but I was put it in there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think you want to encourage people lingering around the table, unfortunately, because I'd love to advertise all kinds of stuff there. But the whole point was to get them to turn around and and
right.
not.
Jane just asked me about a housing buy down thing, and I buy back whatever, and I was just like, I said they can make an appointment to pick up a application, but I just don't want to leave applications out there because the whole point is people have to make appointments to come.
We can put an paper insert at the town clerk's office because people still do go in there to fill out papers. And she might, she doesn't want people to linger either, but it can just be something in a plastic stand on her desk, take one and go. That's another place we can put it. I've been running it. Mark, have you ever watched our public access cable channel?
I have not.
Scintillating. It's channel 18 on the basic channel. So each town, if you're familiar with the way the public access channels are divided up, it's PEG, so Public Educational Government. The public channel is channel 99, which is run by Lower Cape TV. Channel 22 is the educational channel, which is run out of Nauset High School, I'm pretty sure. And then the government channels are specific to each town, and they are channel 18 within each town. If you tune in, you'll get Wellfleet's channel here. If you're in Troy, you'd get Truro channel 18. And the programming, it's just all of our recorded government meetings. I make the programming schedule, so I show the select board at certain times of the day, and then other meetings around them. I also live broadcast the select board when they meet. But in between, I run like a little commercial reel, and I know that we do have a population who watches that stuff on TV because they're not internet savvy. And so I've been running that as a little, it's like these little, it's a slideshow. And so this is the new hours at the DPW, and this is the new process for the health department. And if you're eligible for Comcast. So I've been running that since we signed the lease agreement, and hopefully we might get a couple people that way.
Is that available on the internet or just on Comcast?
It's not live streaming on the internet because all of our internet programming, all of our recorded programming is available on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
And so I figure if people, that's the easiest way for people to access it. We would have to pay an additional fee to our, the company which provides our TV programming service, which is called Castus. If we wanted to get a live streaming player from them to embed in our town website, it would cost more money. And I think right now how we do it is sufficient. It would be cool though.
So we need to get the word out about the YouTube channel.
No.
Yes, it's pretty well known, I think.
Okay.
So the YouTube isn't, that's not where the reel is.
Oh.
No, the advertising reel, sorry, that's just on the TV programming. Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you don't have Comcast, you can't watch it.
That's true.
Although I have Dish TV. Is it on Dish? I mean, that's not available on Dish.
I thought you could pick it up on Dish, but maybe I'm completely wrong on that. Yeah, see if you can find local channel 18, because I thought that you could pick it up with a basic satellite, but I'm probably wrong about that now when I think about it.
It's kind of a catch-22 for people that don't have it.
Yep. Yep, so never mind. Yeah, well, this was my whole catch-22 thing of how do we get people who don't have it. And I was thinking that you could pick it up on basic Dish, but you probably can't. So, all right, so scratch that. Although hopefully some people have done it by word of mouth that way.
Yeah, how about one of us make an announcement at the select board meeting?
That would be great. For public comment. Would anyone like to volunteer to do that at our next select board meeting, which is the 12th? I can do it. I'll volunteer myself. I'll be broadcasting it, but I'll just pop on and I'll pop off. That's okay. I try not to appear in meetings that I'm broadcasting because it's very surreal, but I can do it. Okay. I will draft a little insert that we can do, and I'll just read that and I'll send it to you guys within the next day or two, and you can let me know if I left anything out.
Okay.
So, all right, I think we came up with a lot of good ideas about how we can get the word out. Is there anything else? So this was our agenda topic to just go over the Comcast lease agreement and the committee support. I think that we've today talked about what I wanted to talk about and what was really relevant for our business. Is there anything else anybody wants to discuss pertaining specifically to the Comcast agreement? Okay. Then we shall move on to other business. So we, a couple weeks ago, were informed via the assistant town administrator that Wellfleet is eligible for a grant through a company called Mass Tech. And then, so the grant is state funds administered through a company called Mass Tech, being gatewayed through Open Cape. And the grant is to make available the funding to provide 3 Wi-Fi hotspots in town. It's COVID-19 related funding, which means that the area the hotspots cover have to be COVID-19 compliant. The requirement was for 10 simultaneous users to be able to use the hotspot while social distancing. And we were informed this, and basically they said, pick the hotspots. Sorry, Jen, what's up?
No, I'm reacting to Tom's cat. I've never met it before. And I was just.
This is Bailey, brand new, just a couple, about 8 months old, and about a week and a half or 2. So.
Oh,
beautiful.
Beautiful.
Tom, I'm so happy for you.
Oh, I needed somebody here. I have a couple of plants. It wasn't enough. So.
Hey.
Oh, nice, Tom. He's really cute.
To adopt a rescue dog, it's a lot harder than I thought.
Oh, yeah, no, they're all empty. The shelters are all empty right now.
Yes, I've been writing, all over New England, so we may wind up with
that one.
I would
like
Bailey
in Connecticut, from around New Haven.
Well, I've gone as far as Connecticut, and I get all these. Thank you very much. We'll get back to you.
Is it a specific breed you're looking for?
No, I just a rescue dog. A mutt is fine, and I'm just hoping to find one. Do you know of one, Mark?
Well, New England Lab or Labrador Rescue just posted a yellow lab just yesterday that they were looking to place. It was on Facebook. I think it's called New England Lab Rescue.
Yellow labs are so cute.
The lady there is amazing. I've talked to her before. I can talk to you offline.
Okay, New England Lab Rescue. Okay.
Yeah, it's a group on Facebook to follow.
Okay. I wish that this committee could also distribute pets. I think that would make us the most popular committee in town. But it's probably the purview of somebody else, I guess. I'd rather just talk about our cats. My cat is sleeping on my chair.
Anybody hears of anything, let me know. Or anyone, I should say. We've been all over the place.
Let you know.
Yep, I'm excited. Maybe
well, I'm thrilled you have a cat, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Very sweet.
Beauty.
It's a wonderful moment in my morning. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail. So anyway,
I thought you were making that face at me, and I was like, "Am I getting it wrong?"
No, you were getting it totally right. We were a little distressed. To find out about it last minute, and we found out about it because at my budget meeting with the assistant town administrator, he asked me how our hotspot program was going, which are mobile hotspots that we circulate to families. And I was like, do you mean the functionality or the program, or what do you mean? He's like, because there's a grant opportunity for 3 of them, but if you have 20 of them, I'm like, no, whoa, these are 2 totally different things. And it was just kind of a moment of with no technology experience, not understanding the difference. So, and then it was due in 2 weeks, and I texted Mia and I said, I told Mike Trovato to contact you. And then on top of everything else, for those of you who don't know, he's leaving or he left. So,
yeah. So there's nobody to write a grant. Is that?
Yeah. that was the thing. So Mike Trovato brought me in a couple days after that to a Zoom call with him and with the representative from Open Cape and with the IT director from Barnstable County, or an IT representative from Barnstable County. And they only had a couple days to turn it around because they actually needed, what they needed from us right now were just our 3 desired hotspot locations. And we had to get those locations in order to meet the deadline for the grant. Super last minute. Otherwise, I would have called a whole cable advisory committee meeting so we could talk about it. But he said, you have 3 days, pick us a spot. So I spoke to Jennifer as the library director. I spoke to the director of the DPW. I spoke to Mike DeVasto, who was not representing the select board officially in our conversation. He was just a member at large at that point. Then we talked about what the ideal location would be. So as I said, the hotspots have to service a minimum of 10 socially distant users. In Wellfleet, there is no municipal building big enough to do that. So clearly it was going to be an outdoor spot, which means it has to be 10 people who can sit in their cars, because it's not nice enough right now or most of the year to do that just sitting out in the wild. But I asked them, you know, what's the limit? And they basically were like, find us a spot and we'll make it as big as we can. So I thought, great, let's pick the biggest spots we can. So the places that I ended up, so this is free Wi-Fi that would be paid for in perpetuity by this grant administered through Mass Tech, administered through Open Cape. They're responsible for the install. They're responsible for the maintenance. It's supposed to be plug and play for us. We're not at any point supposed to pick up the cost. And if they did try to get us to pay for the data, they would then have to come and pay for ripping it all up, taking it away. So they don't want to do that. So the spots that I submitted to them were the marina, which is our biggest public lot. It's also, I talked to the harbor master, Will Sullivan, he's the incoming harbor master, the acting harbor master. It would be a really helpful backup for the harbor master's staff because their Wi-Fi is very spotty out there. And there are people in boats who would be able to pick it up who are right off the dock, and it would be great for them. And also, obviously, it's just, I said, extend it as far as you can. We have a lot of space here. You could get people at those picnic tables in the summer. You could get people sitting, you know, on the rocks at the edge. You get people in their cars. That was spot number one. The second spot was the Mayo Beach parking lot and hopefully some extension into the Bakersfield campus, which is the recreation area down there by the bookstore. And there are tons of kids there all year. It's a safe place for parents to just bring their kids and let them hang out. And I thought it would be ideal for if you're working from home, you want to bring your kid to the skate park for a couple hours and you sit in your car and work. Or conversely, if you have a kid and you say, go out there, but stay in communication with me, it would be great to have Wi-Fi there. And the third spot, I just blanked on where the third spot was. Oh my goodness.
Beach.
The beach? It wasn't the beach.
Oh, we decided not the beach?
Which beach? I can't believe I'm blanking on this right now.
That was the White Crest Beach or LeCount.
We decided, that was the thing. We debated having it be in an open, on an oceanfront beach. And the select board chair and I agreed that it wouldn't be a good idea because it's going to create this huge crush in the summer of people clogging up the side of the road, trying to access the Wi-Fi. Not to mention the whole issue of if it's in a lot where you have to pay for it, is it actually free?
Okay, well, okay, good. Well, then we're back to that. But that,
yes, we're back to that.
Then was it Preservation Hall parking lot?
I'm going to double check because I've had a very crazy day yesterday and this completely fell out of my head. One moment. Who didn't have a crazy day yesterday though, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's outstanding news. It'll take the pressure off the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot.
And
that's the third location. It's the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot.
Oh, gee.
Because it gets a little slow in the summer.
It gets a little slow in the summer. Thank you for jogging my memory. That
37 visits last summer for me, Zoom calls.
Yeah, but you're using the Dunkin' Donuts Wi-Fi, correct?
I am. I drink a lot of their coffee.
Well, I'm not saying you're not entitled to do so. We've all drunk a lot of Dunkin' in our day, but it's slow, it's clogged up. And that was, Mike and I decided that was our third biggest publicly available lot. It's going to be available all year, obviously. It's safe. I also didn't want to put this in an isolated place where some teenagers might have to go there to do their homework. I thought that was just not a great place to start. So Dunkin' Donuts, go get your coffee and then you'll be able to use Wi-Fi in the parking lot. We spoke to the owner. There's the parking lot and the building are privately owned. And we spoke to him and he was totally cool with us putting Wi-Fi in there. I think from his point of view, it can only help his businesses. So, go nuts. So thank you, Mark. That was the third location. We decided against an ocean beach for safety concerns. And I think that ideally we would have fiber down Ocean View Drive so that we could, for EMS purposes, get people attention quickly when they need it. But the representative from Mass Tech and Open Cape did tell me that there are big plans in the works to install something like upwards of 70 new cell towers out here. And so not the huge ones, but small ones just to increase this. So they said, you know, don't count your chickens yet, but there's hope on the horizon that cell signal will be vastly improved on the ocean in the next couple of years. So that's the update on our hotspots. And right now, that's just the first step. We put in those locations, and we are getting our grant eligibility confirmed, and then install hopefully will begin before the summer, but they haven't. I'm sorry?
This is a definite, it's not that we have to apply for this?
We were selected. We were actually, these funds were specifically released to support towns that met a certain threshold of lack of broadband connectivity, which we have. It's us, Truro, Provincetown, us, Truro, Provincetown, Methuen. Does anyone know where Methuen is? I don't know where Methuen is.
It's near Lawrence and Lowell.
There you go. Thank you. He already bringing knowledge. And a couple of other towns in that part of the state, which are also underserved.
That's great.
It is great. I know. So I thought, oh my God, we have to jump on this and we have to maximize our resources in using this. So I thought biggest lots, publicly accessible, can use it from your car. And that's what we came down to. So I'll update you on that as I get more information, but we've been chosen for the grant. We just had to get all of our eligibility, what we were asking for in, so that they could start planning it for us.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Very exciting.
So when is this going to happen? You know,
they said tentatively install by the summer. We'll see. It's the government, it's the state government. So maybe they didn't mean this summer. Maybe they meant summer of 2024.
Exactly.
I'm not sure, but I'm hoping that they will get it in before the tourist season, because it isn't really going to be feasible to construct it in the middle of that kind of crush. Mm-hmm. Although it should be it's a small scale install. They said basically show us the size, the diameters of the parking lot, the dimensions of the parking lot that you want, and we'll make sure we have as many transmitters as we need to adequately cover it. And I said, if this is for, if the idea is to supply people who would be working from home, it has to be robust enough to support multiple people streaming video, whether it's kids downloading stuff for school or adults on Zoom. And they were like, yeah, that's the idea. So we'll look forward to that. And I think Mike Travato really wanted this to be his legacy. He's going to leave Wellfleet, but he's going to leave them with broadband. So it was a good thing. We're very grateful to him that he helped shepherd us through. Any questions on that? Okay, that was what I had for other business under that agenda topic. Deb, Tom, do you have any updates from Lower Cape TV that need to be brought to our attention?
Well, we have a board meeting coming up, so I don't know that we have anything particularly new, unless Deb, you've got something you've been working on, or?
Well, we have a, excuse me, we have a subcommittee that's looking at the bylaws and working with TDC, which is a consulting firm out of Boston, to help us bring the bylaws up to date, since they have not been looked at, I think, since the beginning of time, which is a long time ago, right, Tom? And so we're at the point now where we're talking to both TDC and another organization to see if, what's really the best thing for us to do in terms of creating bylaws that make sense for our organization. There are, and this goes to board membership and board involvement. In general, just what kind of programming we will be doing that makes the most sense. And it's moving along. It's moving along very slowly, but it is moving. So we have another meeting coming up with one of the other consultants to talk about, what their methodology is, because I I, for one, who've had more experience with consultants than I care to talk about, want to make sure that we work with people who have a strong agenda, know exactly what they're going to do, and come back to us with a report about something that we don't already know. Because I feel very strongly about not paying for somebody to be, you know, vomiting back what I already know. Sorry to sound so negative, but you know, we want new ideas. We want to know what's going on in other towns, in other counties that are similar in size, that will help us basically broaden our reach, get more. More, I want to say readership, but that's not the right word.
Viewership?
Pardon?
Viewership?
Viewership, thank you.
Viewership.
And also some new board members who are really interested in the future of Lower Cape TV. So it's, you know, it's a big job. It's going to take years. And the other thing we're working on is our place. There's all kinds of stuff going on with the high school. You know, we'll be in, we'll be out. They're starting construction. They're not starting construction. The towns are bought into construction. No, they pulled back. Well, the point is that Lower Cape TV does not have a good permanent home in the high school. So that's another thing that we've got. We're working with a realtor to try to find a space that's affordable, that's the right size, and also that will enable us to provide the right kinds of service to our towns. And so, you know, we had a survey done, and, you know, just to find out, what do people want from us? What do they want from our space? What do they want from our programming? And so that's happening in another spot. The good news is that we've actually won a couple of grants as well as a couple of awards. For those of you who don't know Teresa Martin, she is brilliant, and
she's a force of nature.
She really is. She absolutely is, and has just brought a lot to this organization. I love working with her. She's very smart and proactive. Anyway, that's my story.
Thank you. It's a very informative update. So well, this is probably really premature, but do they anticipate needing to raise more money just to find a new space?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
It's
going to be, yeah, okay.
And that's going to be a challenge. It's a big challenge. There are some grants that are coming through, but they're matching grants. So, you know, without getting a really big response from the community, the matching grants are 1-for-1. So, you know, if you don't get enough response from the community, you don't get as much from your match as you would hope. So that's also on the agenda. There's a lot going on there, and COVID is not helping. Let me just say that. Our sense of space is like, a sense of place is like this. It's just, you know, here we are, we have Zoom meetings every couple of weeks and try to move things forward. So it's frustrating, but doable. So that's
well, you do amazing work, and it's very much appreciated by us, and even more so by Lower Cape TV. So thank you both.
Thank you. Tom,
you
want to say something?
No, you covered it beautifully.
Thank you. We have a board meeting coming up very soon. Next week, I think. I'm not sure. So if anybody would like to come as a member of the public, just to get updated on what's going on there, that might be just interesting for you to see the kind of work we do, and you know, where our areas of interests are, and could you lend some ideas? That would be great. So that's it.
Thank you. And if we don't make it, you can update us on that meeting at our next meeting.
I can.
Is there anything else anybody wants to discuss under our business agenda item? I feel like this has been a very informative meeting already. All right, then we're going to move on to reviewing and approving Deb's fantastic minutes Mark, I think you are not able to vote on these because you weren't present, but you'll be a voting member from here on out. I sent them out yesterday, I think, or I definitely resent them yesterday if I didn't send them originally. Did everybody get a chance to glance them over?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, they look really good to me. I could move, we accept the minutes.
Thank you.
I second that. All in favor?
All right.
Any more discussion? Then we have approved Deb's minutes 4-0. Thank you, Deb.
So who was the second? Was that you?
I seconded. Tom moved and I seconded.
Okay.
Yep.
Just really quickly, was I at that meeting?
No.
No.
Oh, I abstained. That's why I didn't say anything.
Sorry. So
Mhm.
3, Tom moved, I seconded, 3-0.
Yeah, I was on vacation.
Okay, perfect. A well-deserved vacation.
Vacation time.
Well-deserved staycation.
Yes.
Mm.
All right, topics for future agendas. We're going to, this week I will send out to you just whatever draft language I have for a little insert. It's going to be very simple. You can just let me know if there's anything I missed, and we'll send it out to all those places that we talked about, and we can sort of check in on that at our next meeting. So that's one thing. Agenda. Anything else anybody wants to put on there specifically? Okay. A lot of what our agendas are sort of perpetually checking in on how all of our projects are going. But I always ask for specific future agenda stuff in case there's something somebody wants to bring up. And you can always email me in between now and our next meeting date if there's something that comes up. Speaking of, I'd like us to meet again in February so that we can exchange information. Are people okay to set a meeting date now for the first week of February?
Sure.
Not going anywhere.
Neither am I. How do people feel about either Tuesday the 2nd or Wednesday the 3rd in the morning? Good. Good. Is 10 a.m. a good time for people?
Yeah.
Good for me. Okay.
Sorry, what day was that?
Tuesday the 2nd or Wednesday the 3rd?
Wednesday the 3rd is a library board friends meeting. So
okay. So not Wednesday the 3rd.
About 10:30 generally. So
okay.
If you want to meet after that, we could do that. But
well, how does Tuesday look, Jennifer?
That's fine for me.
Can everyone do 10 a.m. on Tuesday the 2nd?
Yep.
Okay. Great. I'm gonna put it in my calendar right now.
Me too.
Great. And so, as I said, I anticipate our agenda being more of checking in about what we talked about today. If anything comes up that you'd like to see discussed, please email me. I will send out the agenda and the Zoom link 5 to 7 days before we have the meeting. Anything you want to email to me, just remember to email directly to me, never reply all, because it's an open meeting law violation, as we've been told many times. And I think that covers all of our business for the day. And I really appreciate you joining, Mark. I appreciate everybody's contributions, as always. I think this is a really great committee, and I'm very proud of us.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Mark.
Yep. Well,
thank you.
You've been
all right.
For an appropriate new member for how long? I don't know, a year, 2?
A year, yeah. Pretty much since we started.
It seems
reforming.
like so.
Yeah.
What did you all do to the last one?
Hey, off the record.
I don't know.
We had a wonderful member, Dick Guernsey, was that his last name?
Yeah.
And he wanted to step down, and so he stepped down right around the time of the 4 of us were forming this committee, and we never replaced him. He was irreplaceable until you came along, Mark.
He used to take the minutes, so if you'd like to step in, that would be fine.
We'll do board reorganization in June, and if you'd like to become the clerk or dethrone me for the chair, it'll all be out in the open.
Just kidding.
Right. Thank you, everyone. Can I have one more motion, please?
I move that we adjourn.
Is there a
Second.
second?
I'll second.
Second.
All right. Mark and Tom both seconded. Any further discussion?
So that's good for me. Yeah.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. 500. Thank you, everyone. Be well, be warm, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
So Mark, I need to figure out how to get in touch with you. So,
I have your email address on the.
oh, terrific. Okay, so if you could just send me that information, that would be really great.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.